sovereign Grand Inspector General, the Grand Commander of the Knights Templar. He's the top dog. So he sends out his deputy Grand Inspector Generals, and then he proceeds to proliferate this. Collect the dues money from everybody, initiate them in a one-day class, give them a little bit of verbal instruction, bam, now they're Scottish Rite. Now, all of a sudden, the local York Rite Masons that are connected with the General Grand Chapter and the Grand Encampment of Knights Templar, they're like, what's this Scottish Rite stuff going on? Who? And they claim to be Templar Masons. They're claiming a Templar tradition that goes back to von Hund's strict observance. That's a competing ideology, a competing Templar Masonry in our jurisdiction, which we have the jurisdiction. Nobody's a Templar Mason around here unless we say they are, unless we recognize them. That's irregular. An immediate clash starts. So the Grand Commander of Missouri, his name is Frank Gooley, he gets on the horn at the local national meeting of the Grand Encampment, the triannual meeting. Everybody comes with horses and swords, and big tents are set up, and it's a big rally and everything. And he stands up in front of everybody and says, these Scottish Rite Masons are out of order, man. They're coming into my jurisdiction and making guys Templar Masons. This guy was accusing Albert Pike of literally taking his knowledge as a York Rite Mason. Remember, he was a high-ranking Arkansas York Rite Mason, and just like grafting stuff right into the Scottish Rite ritual that was taken right from the Knights Templar and Royal Arch work. Why was he doing that? To give it authenticity, because there's something there within those teachings that has historical value and street creds among the Masons. He wants to look good. He wants to give them authenticity. So he grafts the important stuff as he sees it into this rite of perfection that he receives from Mackey. That's what he turned into 32 degrees. So Gooley stands up and says, hey, this is wrong. We can't let him do this. He's out of order, right? Pike shows up and goes, first of all, who's this state Grand Commander talking to me? I'm the worldwide Grand Inspector General of this entire, I'm the top dog of everything. Who's this guy telling me? He's just a state guy? I'm not even gonna recognize him. You guys got something to say to me? You know what I mean? And so they totally dismissed it all. They said, listen, we really respect your Scottish Rite. This is the leaders of the triannual Grand Encampment, who, by the way, a lot of them were members of the Scottish Rite. So they're like, listen, we want to be, we want everybody to be friendly. So can you just modify some of your, signs of recognition and secret words to kind of please these guys? Because they kind of got a point. You did sort of rip some of that stuff off, you know what I mean? So would you mind just changing a few words and symbols here, and then we'll all be happy? And he does. That's just an example of the kind of like political struggle that started. Taking it forward, like in the Lawrence, Kansas system that I joined, when I walked into that lodge building, you had factions. There were several orders there. You had the Order of the Eastern Star, you had the York Rite, and then you had the Scottish Rite. That stone building downtown on Mass Street that's the beginning of Freeman's videos. They all had an equal share in that when it was first built in 1906 under the Masonic Temple Corporation. They all had equal shares. But in 1990, like 90 years later, when it was decided to sell it, the Scottish Rite had controlling shares. There's no real reason how they got that, because they all had equal shares in organizations that were designed to hold on to those shares and to maintain their ownership of the structure intact. But 90 years later, the Scottish Rite has all the controlling shares. The Scottish Rite decides to sell the holdings and start renting a commercial property at like $5,000 a month in a 3-year lease. And they use the money that they sold the structure for to pay that holding until they drained all the accounts down, and then the lodge has nothing. They have no holdings, they have no money. Meanwhile, the Scottish Rite's still funded by the Supreme Council and all the money that they have. They become the controlling order of that jurisdiction. So they can say now, we're gonna buy this building over here, and you guys pay us, $25,000 or $50,000, and then we will let you do your work there too, because you paid into it. But it's a Scottish Rite building now, just so you know, and we are in charge. There'll be a big double-headed eagle up there. You never forget. Supreme Council's in charge at all times. I didn't join the Blue Lodge system to become a Scottish Rite. I never joined the Scottish Rite. But now if I want to go to Masonic meetings in Lawrence, Kansas, I got to go to the Scottish Rite Center. Well, that's where the Masons are meeting. See the twist there, they turned it around. It used to be just this like little itinerant little side degree order that was traveling around. These guys were peddling this degree for traveling money probably back in the 19th century, and now they're calling the shots? How does that happen? That's the That's the thing to really look at. How did that happen? Well, somewhere along the way, it shifted. I've looked into this and I found the same story to be true across the nation. I've got letters from other Masons in other jurisdictions telling me the same story I had, the same experiences with the Scottish Rite in their areas. When you're watching the History Channel and they say, you know, the Masonic expert comes on the screen, he's invariably a 33rd degree Scottish Rite at the bottom. It says, like, you know, that's who you're talking for Freemasonry now on the History Channel. So the average person sitting on the couch watching that that's in his mind. That's Freemasonry. All the scandals that you hear about Freemasonry, invariably they involve the Scottish Rite and the 33rd degree Supreme Council, or somebody it was involved that was connected to that. I've done the research, invariably. If you really want to grow and evolve and you know, tap into that divine ancient knowledge and wisdom that we're talking about, that's hard work, man. That's a lot of reading, that's a lot of research, that's a lot of self-reflection, okay? Or you can go to a day class and we'll give you 32 degrees. You're going to give me 32 degrees if I pay you some money and we'll all just kind of, you know, we'll dance the dance and pretend like we know what we're talking about? Okay. And that's how it goes. The Scottish Rite's just like everybody else. It's just people that are coming in there and joining the Scottish Rite, and they're being misled, most of them. They don't know. They're just joining. They think this is the way to go. My grandfather was Scottish Rite. Everybody I know, you know, Andrew Johnson was Scottish Rite. You know, shouldn't I be? Ronald Reagan, blah, 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 whatever. So they're just doing it, right? But the Supreme Council is calling the shots. When you join the Scottish Rite, you are automatically sworn into allegiance to them. That's it. In the Scottish Rite, it is a pyramid structure in which the Venerable Master is the absolute authority who answers only to the Supreme Council, which is the absolute authority of the entire worldwide organization. The business meeting's a closed-door meeting that only the Venerable Master and the top people are involved. So the average members don't even get to be in the business meeting. They're completely in the very local level lodge, the Scottish Rite Lodge. Their membership can't even be in the business meeting with the Venerable Master of the lodge. So it's closed doors. The Scottish Rite is a vehicle. I think that there are elements and influences that utilize the Scottish Rite. And I think those elements and influences can be found within the Supreme Council, right? But I think they can be found elsewhere. They can be found in the Council of 300 or the Trilateral Commission or the, you know, the Bilderberger Group. Some are members of this one, some are members of that one, but who's a member of all of them? And also a member of the Supreme Council. You know what I mean? Then you get into some players there. And that's where I think you have is key influence and players. And I think I think that Joseph Farrell is right. There's something to this, you know, transgenerational elite, you know, brotherhood that's reimagining itself, remanifesting in our culture.